Hey everybody, Kyle, not your average finance guy, where we show you how to get out of debt and or build some wealth. So today we're going to talk a little bit about a couple things, the debt snowball or the debt avalanche. A lot of kind of terms that are thrown around all over the place. So let's get into this example here so the debt snowball is a way that you kind of list out your debts, and then you take the smallest debt and you pay that off first, and then you take the cash flow, the minimum payment that you were putting into that smallest debt, and then you apply that to your next highest debt. It's not always the most efficient way to get out of debt, but it kind of plays with your head a little bit, because in doing that, you can see you're making progress. And once you pay that first debt off, man, it feels so good that now you get to roll in that snowball going down the hill, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you pay off more debts. That means you have more cash flow to put towards your next debt, and then that debt just keeps on getting paid off quicker. Then you've also got the debt avalanche. Now the debt avalanche is similar, but on the debt avalanche, it's usually a little bit more efficient, because what you're doing is you're attacking that highest interest rate first. So if you got the highest interest rate, that means you're pissing away way more money to the banks. So we want to get that one knocked out as soon as possible. Then once we get that knocked out, then we go on to the next lowest interest rate, and we start knocking that out. This one is usually more efficient, but it usually takes a little bit longer to get that first debt, depending on how your debts are structured and what they are. It usually takes a little bit longer to get that first debt out of the way, and some people can like lose steam. It's like, man, this sucks, I'm not getting anywhere, and then they just kind of quit altogether. So know yourself, and we're just going to talk about the couple. I got a couple examples that we ran through here and kind of show you the difference between them. So let's go on to the next slide here. So this is what we're working with here. I can get my face out of the way. We'll make it a little smaller. So with this, we've got debts. We've got a Capital One, a MasterCard, a car loan, and a medical bill. So here's your balances here. Here are the minimum payments that we're making each month, and then here is the interest rates. So these interest rates are just listed from highest to lowest. This scenario, the income for this couple was $7,200 a month with expenses of $6,900, leaving them with a free cash flow of about $300 a month. None of this is perfect, but they just took their best guess at it. So let's go on to how we are going to attack this. So the debt snowball, this is the Dave Ramsey teaches this. This is the pretty common. I personally like this one. It helps you to see where you're getting things paid off a little bit quicker and going from there. So if we jump in here, and let's say that we've got the $300 of free cash flow, and we're going to apply that towards our smallest balance first. So here's our smallest balance is the MasterCard of $376. So month number one, we're going to take our free cash flow of $300, put it towards this MasterCard, and that's going to leave us then with a $76 balance on the following month. So month two, we're going to take our cash flow, we're going to pay that MasterCard off, and then we're going to have an extra $224 that we're going to pay towards our medical bill, which then is our next highest balance. So here, the MasterCard is now paid off, so that means that this $38 per month, we no longer have to pay the MasterCard, right, because it's paid off. So we're going to use that, and that's going to up our cash flow. So then let's go to our new cash flow. It went from 300, it's now 338 because this payment is gone. Okay, so month three, now we've got 276 to pay off that medical bill. So now that's gone, and we got $62 extra of cash flow that we're going to pay towards the next highest. Okay, so MasterCard at this point is gone. The medical bill is gone. So our next highest, the lowest one from there now is the Capital One. So now we're going to knock this one out. So in doing so, our medical bill is now paid off, so that adds another whopping $23 to our cash flow. So now our cash flow is up to $361. So now in month four, we're going to take that $361 extra cash flow, and we are going to start plowing that into our Capital One. We're still making, this is in addition to our minimum payment, okay? During doing all this, you're always making your minimum payments, but this is what we're adding above and beyond. So as we do this is going to take us through month 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And by month 9, we're going to have $356 left, looks like, to pay off that Capital One. So the Capital One will be paid off, and that one really helps. That gives us a boost of $257 now to add to our cash flow. So that's awesome. So this brings our cash flow up to $618 now. So 9 months in, we got a car loan balance. Now this is the last one that we have to attack now. So as you can see, we've been doing this for 9 months. So 9 months in, our car loan balance is now going to be $16,135. So once we do that, we're going to start taking our new free cash flow, which is built up to $618, and we're going to start knocking out that car loan. So in month 10, additional 618 goes towards the car payment, and then we do that month 11, month 12, and I spared us all the math here, but month 25, so this is 1 month past 2 years, you've got $514 will be needed to pay off your car, and at that point, in just over 2 years, you are debt free. All of this is gone now. I don't know if they rent or have a mortgage on there or not, but at that point, you're paid off, and you have $1,050 to do whatever you want with it. Okay, so not bad, right? So let's look at the debt avalanche. So this one now we're not looking, instead of the lowest balance first, now we're looking for the highest interest rate. Okay, so we're going to take them just as listed here. So we're starting over. This is the debt avalanche versus the debt snowball. So here we're going to take the $300 of cash flow. We're going to apply that towards the Capital One balance. Okay, so that's going to take that in month 1 down to 1831, month 2 down to 1312, so on, and in month 5 is going to take us 5 months to pay off that first credit card. So here's the big difference. It took us 5 months to pay that credit card off versus the debt snowball when we had something paid off in the second month. We're already paying stuff off. The third month we're paying stuff off. Granted, we only added $38 and $23 to our cash flow, but sometimes it's the mental thing of how does your brain work? What's going to work for you? So here, being the debt avalanche, it's going to take us 5 months to get this Capital One, but look, man, we get $257 to add to our cash flow. So it's more of like a big avalanche is what it's looking at. So at this point, 5 months in, our MasterCard balance is going to be $218. So we get to pay that off as well. So making that $38 a month minimum payment takes this balance down to $218. So boom, that one's gone too. So now we get to add $257 because our Capital One is paid off to our cash flow from our Capital One payment. Okay, that takes our cash flow up to $557, and we also get to add the $38 right here from our MasterCard because we paid that off as well. So now that takes our free cash flow up to $595. All right, so month 6, we're going to apply that $595 towards the extra towards the car loan. Okay, so we've got, because that's our next highest, we've got our Capital One, we paid that off first, then we paid off our MasterCard. Now our car loan is the next at the 7.9%. So we're going to attack that. We're still making our $432 payment, but in addition to that, we're going to pay an extra $595. We're going to put all of our cash flow towards that. All right. So we're going to continue that for 15 months. So in month 21, we're going to use $280 of our cash flow to pay off that car. So at that point, the car will be paid off free and clear. And then the medical bill balance will be all the way down to $37 at that point. So we got a really low rate on that one. So we don't really owe much. So that gets that paid off too, and which frees up $278 or more cash flow. So, 21 to 22 months, you're now completely out of debt. And again, we got that $1,000 free cash flow, which is the $750, which we had in our minimum payments, plus the $300 a month cash flow we had already. So those two added together, that's $1,050. Okay, so at this point, now what do? You've got $1,000. You can go out and you can blow it. I would really look at the infinite banking concept, because at some point you're going to need another car, right? So that's when you can use your own banking system. You don't have to rely on Wall Street or the big bank and paying all that interest away on that. So I've got some other videos on that if you'd like to check that out. All right, so, and then a lot of times we talk about the velocity banking on this channel. So if you kind of use the velocity bank, this couple, they also had a home equity line of credit at 9%. So that was, they had $25,000 available to them on that. So if you do that, you can knock all this out in one fall swoop, okay? So in this example of doing the velocity banking, $22,159, that's all gone right then and there. You making no more payments, except you do have to make the payments back to your home equity line of credit because we got to pay that off. So in doing so, we'll increase the cash flow by $750 a month. So right now your cash flow is all the way up to $1,050. But remember, we've got this HELOC to pay back. So that's what we're going to use that cash flow for. Expenses are now $6,900, which was our original expenses. This is all of your, your utilities, your gas for your car, your insurance going on, everything that your expenses throughout the month are 6,900, including all these minimum payments here. Okay, so we no longer have to make these minimum payments, so that goes down to 6,150. So what we're going to do now is we're going to deposit all the income into your home equity line of credit, and we're going to pay all expenses from that line of credit, and it will actually act as your checking account. I've got more videos that go way more into depth on the velocity banking method, so please check those out if you got any questions, or leave some comments. I'd be happy to help. So now our home equity line of credit balance is 22,159. So we're going to subtract the 7,200, which is our income here. Okay, this is my little cheat sheet down there, and then that equals 14,959. That's going to be our lowest that comes in. Now, these things come in. No one gets paid that I know of $7,200 in one, just once a month. It usually comes in, either bi-weekly, bi-monthly, or weekly, however it's done. So throughout the month, this is kind of how it all works out. So you're going to subtract your income, because your income is going to go straight against your home equity line of credit, and then you're going to have to add back in your expenses. So throughout the month, your expenses come out as you pay them. Your grocery bill, your insurance, the fuel for your car, whatever you need, expenses come back out. And then we've got $139 of home equity line of credit interest. So remember, this still isn't free, because we've got that is at 9%. All right, and the way we figured this one, a little bit different than my last videos. I would usually go real conservative, but this one, if you take your high balance and your low balance and you add both of those together, divide by 2, that's your average. So that would be your average daily, somewhat your average daily balance. It's not perfect, but the bank will expect to calculate that out perfectly. But what that does then is it'll give your average balance, and then that's the number you take times 9%. So take those two together, add those two together, divide by 2. So your high balance, your low balance, add those up, divide by 2, and that's the number you take times 0.09, and then you take time. That's the yearly interest that you would pay. Then you take that number, divide by 12. I know it kind of sounds hard, but it really isn't. It's pretty simple, and that's how I came up with that $139 right there. So that gives your home equity line of credit balance, gets that down to $21,248, and then same thing, month 2, month 3, month 4. You do this all the way, and this one actually takes 22 months to repay that home equity line of credit. Okay, so the velocity banking took us 22 months. The debt Avalanche we were paid off like 21 months, around the 22nd month right there. So very, very similar. And the debt snowball method alone took us 25 months. So all of these are roughly 2 years, right? So that's still better than just paying these with the regular payments that they had. You're going to be, I didn't run those numbers, but you're going to be going on that forever, and you pay all kinds of interest. So let's not pay all that interest to the banks. Let's keep that for ourselves. And then, after 2 years, you've got all this money's back in your pocket. You've got $1,000 of free cash flow. You can invest it. You can, if you got a house at that point, you can go try to pay off your house, save up for a vacation. It's your money. You do whatever you want with it. Okay, like I said, at some point you're going to need another car. Cars don't last forever. You're going to have some other things come up from time to time. That's what I really look at, taking that banking function back, get it away from the banks, take that function back, get your infinite banking policy set up, and now you own the banking functions. And that one's a hard pill to swallow. I understand it's hard to grasp. I set my policy up about 6-7 years ago, and honestly, it's been the best thing I've ever done. I've used that policy, and I've made down payments for rental properties, which then cash flow. So I take the extra cash flow, just build your cash flow up higher, and you keep paying that back. Once that's paid back, go buy another one, buy another one, buy another one, and it just keeps on rolling. So it almost turns into, here we're talking about a debt snowball. If you do it that way, it turns into an income snowball. So any questions on that, please let me know. Be happy to help, and I hope this helps you guys. Good luck.